What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Weekly GCap, the only source you'll ever need to catch up on all the gaming news from the last week. We have a ton of stories to go through today, so I'm going to try to get through this as quick as possible. First things first, High on Life randomly released on PlayStation. There was no prior announcement of it. They just kind of posted up a trailer. They were like, hey, it's available now on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. If you remember, it was exclusive to Xbox for a limited time. It also came to Game Pass day one. It's an absolutely phenomenal game. It's a first-person shooter. I believe the creators of Rick and Morty are behind this game, and it really shows with like the humor and the writing of the game. It's absolutely hilarious. It's a great game. I definitely recommend picking this one up. Next up, while we're talking about unexpected game releases, we have another one coming up very soon. Terminator Resistance will be coming to the Xbox Series S and X on October 27th. If you remember Terminator Resistance, this was a bit of an underrated gem, I'd say, from a couple of years ago. Obviously, it's like a licensed Terminator game, but it's actually like a really good first-person shooter. Again, it really flew below the radar, so if you haven't played this one before, I highly recommend it. It is a great shooter, and the people behind this game are making the upcoming RoboCop game, so definitely worth checking out. They're making some good stuff. Next up, just a quick thing I wanted to highlight. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart has officially released on PC, and it's also Steam Deck verified. So there's been some, videos of people doing some tests, doing some interesting things. If you guys remember, Insomniac was talking about how the SSD made this game entirely possible, and yeah, let's just say if you have a hard disk drive, you don't want to be playing this game, make sure you have an SSD, or at the very least, there were some tests being done where somebody with 64 gigabytes of RAM was able to get it running at least somewhat smoothly, even with a hard drive, but again, that required 64 gigabytes of RAM, and even then it was a little rough, so definitely make sure you got an SSD before picking this one up, but it's definitely worth it. It's a phenomenal game. Next up, this is another quick thing I just wanted to highlight, but Sea of Stars, which is an RPG that was announced a little while ago, and it's coming up actually very soon, will now not only be coming to Game Pass, but it's also coming to like PS Plus Extra and Premium and all that, so you can look forward to that if you have those services. But it's safe to say that those developers and those publishers more than made their money back already. If it's on Game Pass and PS Plus Extra before launch, yeah, the sales that'll be coming in after launch, that'll just be bonuses compared to the checks that I'm sure Microsoft and Sony both wrote for them. Next up, we got a new game announcement for you guys. Skull Island: Rise of Kong. Now, it's pretty cool that we're getting a King Kong game, right? The last time that I can remember we got a good solid King Kong game would have been, like the movie tie-in game all those years ago, almost 2 decades ago now, which makes me feel really old because I remember when that game was still new. But anyway, this one is being developed by Game Mill, which turned some people off online when they saw that, which for me personally, I've talked about this before, personally, I enjoy Game Mill's games. Every time I play one of their games, it kind of takes me back to that, like, AA licensed tie-in game era for gaming, back around, like, the PS2 era, which, again, there's a lot of nostalgia bias there because I grew up during the PS2, the Xbox, and the GameCube generation, so obviously I played a lot of games like that back in the day, too, and to this day, I still play a lot of games like that, and their games, while I would say from a quality standpoint, they don't even touch some of the AA games from that 6th generation, right? But their games are still pretty solid for what they are. Sure, they are a little budgety feeling, but they're still generally a good time, and this one looks like one of their better ones. That being said, there's no release date yet, but don't hold out any judgment. Developers are constantly redeeming themselves, so, and especially with, like, Game Mill, they've been putting out game after game lately. There's been a lot of games. We just talked about Avatar the other week, now there's Skull Island, so, just give it a chance. It might be good. I mean, I'm definitely going to be picking this one up, so at the very least, I'll let you guys know. Next up, this is a quick one because there's not much to talk about. The Borderlands movie release date was revealed August 9th, 2024, and that's all I can say. We don't have any trailers, don't have any screenshots, we literally know nothing about this movie, so, on to the next story. Next up, a limited edition Spider-Man PS5 was revealed, and this looks awesome. Not only is it the console, but there's also, like, the controller. Anyway, first thing I wanted to highlight is they put up a new trailer, so if you're interested in seeing the new trailer, definitely go check it out. They shut off Venom and everything like that. It's a new story trailer. The game looks absolutely phenomenal. I am so stoked for this game. But anyway, I'll put a picture up on screen for you guys. Here's the console. Here's the controller. It's like, it's that classic red and white Spider-Man aesthetic, but then it's also got the black in there with, like, the symbiote taking over, because obviously the symbiote's in this game and the story, and it's just, oh, it looks so good, man. This may sound weird, but when it comes to consoles, I like to just get the vanilla console. So for PS5, for example, like the white and black, like just the one that you buy off the store shelf any time of the year, right? Like, I typically don't go for limited editions. That being said, this is one of those things where I am half tempted to buy it just so I can, like, frame it, or, like, you know what I mean, put it in one of those, like, glass shelves, like a museum, and just, like, put it somewhere in my house, you know what I mean? It's a beautiful console, so pick them up while you can, because I'm sure the scalpers are going to be all over this one. Next up, while we're talking about cool limited time consoles and such, we have a new limited time Xbox controller that was revealed. This is going to be a pizza-scented Xbox controller. You can't purchase it. The only way to obtain it is through a giveaway that Xbox is doing, but yeah, thankfully the controller itself does not smell like pizza, so it's not one of those things where you're gonna pick it up and then your hands are gonna smell like pizza. No, rather, there's a diffuser thing that you can hook onto the controller and then it'll shoot out pizza smell. I'm not sure what kind of pizza. Like, I don't know if we're talking cheese, double cheese, pepperoni, pineapple, ham and pineapple, if you're feeling a little Hawaiian. But yeah, this exists. I mean, I might enter the giveaway. In fact, yeah, I will enter the giveaway just because, like, a pizza-scented controller, why not? But otherwise, I mean, the designs are cool, right? Like, it's the turtles, there's a dedicated controller for each of the turtles, but yeah, I don't know, this was just a bizarre one I just really wanted to highlight. And for our next story, we have yet another live service game shutting down, this one being Gundam Evolution. So, this coming from the Gundam Evolution website, quote, "Thank you all for your continued support. This is Kazuya Maruyama, the executive producer for Gundam Evolution. It is with great sadness that we are announcing the conclusion of Gundam Evolution. The game service will end on November 29th, 2023 PST. Then they go on to list, like, a whole thing about, like, you know, what'll be in the game up until the game closes, what'll still be coming out and all that, and yeah, I don't know. It's sad that this game is closing down so soon because at the time of recording this, it's barely even been out for like a year at this point, right? But it is what it is. I mean, these publishers and developers keep going for these always online live service, you know, experiences, and it's just, it's so lifeless, it's so soulless, man, because in half of these games, there's not even an offline mode to interact with. So once the servers go offline and once the games are over, well, that's just it. The games are over, and like, there's no way to play them ever again, so I don't know, I'm not going to sit here and try to be like one of those overly dramatic YouTubers where I'm like, oh, gaming is in such a rough spot right now. No, gaming's never in a rough spot. There's always so many amazing games coming out in every space, AAA, AA, indie, so, you know, it's nothing like that. But in terms of the money-grubbing side of the gaming industry right now, something definitely needs to change, because all this live servicey stuff, clearly it's not working. And for our next story, I have a bit of an update on the situation. If you guys remember, Dolphin was going to go to Steam a little while ago, then it ended up not going there, and there was a bit of a confusion as to, like, who was to blame, but we have an official explanation, finally, this coming from Dolphin, quote, "What actually happened? First things first, Nintendo did not send Valve or Dolphin a Digital Millennium Copyright Act, aka a DMCA, Section 512 notice, commonly known as a DMCA takedown notice, against our Steam page. Nintendo has not taken any legal action against Dolphin Emulator or Valve. What actually happened was that Valve's legal department contacted Nintendo to inquire about the announced release of Dolphin Emulator on Steam. In reply to this, a lawyer representing Nintendo of America requested Valve present Dolphin from releasing on the Steam store, citing the DMCA as justification. Valve then forwarded us the statement from Nintendo's lawyers and told us that we had to come to an agreement with Nintendo in order to release on Steam. Considering the strong legal wording at the start of the document and the citation of DMCA law, we took the letter very seriously. We wanted to take some time and formulate a response. However, after being flooded with questions, we wrote a fairly frantic statement on the situation as we understood it at the time, which turned out to only fuel the fires of speculation. So after a long stay of silence, we have a difficult announcement to make. We are abandoning our efforts to release Dolphin on Steam. Valve ultimately runs the store and can set any condition they wish for software to appear on it, but given Nintendo's long-held stance on emulation, we find Valve's requirement for us to get approval from Nintendo for our Steam release to be impossible," end quote. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to add on to that. That's along the lines of what I was expecting behind the scenes. You know, a lot of DMCA talk at the very least. I wasn't sure like who contacted who necessarily, but I knew that there was definitely letters and DMCA threats and different things being shot around. So yeah, it doesn't seem like Dolphin's going to be coming to Steam, but that being said, Dolphin is still easy enough to download on, I mean, whether it's on PC, on Android, like you can download on so many devices at this point. So while it's sad that it's not going to be coming to Steam because that means that, you know, it won't be out to as many eyes as possible in the PC space, Dolphin's still there. Dolphin's not going anywhere, so, you know, at least we still have access to it, right? Next up, another quick thing I just wanted to highlight. There is apparently going to be some Blizzard games coming to Steam, which is pretty cool. This coming from news.blizzard.com, quote, "We're excited to announce that we are bringing a selection of our games to Steam, starting with Overwatch 2, which will be available on the platform on August 10th, so roughly just about 2 weeks from the time that this video is going up, which will be, it's our goal at Blizzard to listen to players and try to exceed their expectations in everything we do," said Mike Ybarra, president of Blizzard Entertainment. While Battle.net remains a priority priority for us now and into the future. We've heard players want the choice of Steam for a selection of our games, starting with Overwatch 2 on August 10th. We're happy to work with Valve to make that happen, end quote. So yeah, if you're on Steam and you're sick of using Battle.net, rightfully so, including me, then there you go. You'll be able to get the game on Steam. And I haven't really been too much into Overwatch, whether it be Overwatch 1 or Overwatch 2, but heck, even I might check it out. Next up, Square Enix has finally responded to the Final Fantasy 16 sales concerns, rumors, and such. Obviously, you guys know how this is at this point. Square Enix is never satisfied with their sales, but, well, that pattern seems to be changing for once. This coming from IGN, quote, in a statement from Square Enix issued exclusively to IGN, the company pointed to the difference in install base between the PS4 when Final Fantasy VII Remake came out and the install base of the PS5 when FF16 launched last month. With 38 million PS5 consoles shipped globally as of March 31st, 2023, sales of FF16 surpassed 3 million units worldwide several days after its release on June 22nd, 2023. Taking into consideration the sales figures of the acclaimed FF7 Remake and the difference in size of the install base of the PS4 at the time of this title's release, we can see that the attach rate of FF16 is considerably high given the PS5 install base, which is something that I highlighted in my video talking about it. Square Enix considers the initial sales results of FF16 to be extremely strong, and we will continue to carry out a wide range of initiatives to encourage even more people to play the game, end quote. So yeah, you know, there's not too much of that story there. It was one of those things where it honestly kind of caught me off guard. Square Enix, they're actually happy with their sales for once. Like, the amount of time, like, Tomb Raider, right? Like, it sold over, like, 10 million units, and they weren't even satisfied with that, but I'm glad that they're actually happy with with the amount of sales that they get, right? Like, the fact that they're ever disappointed in their sales is mind-boggling to me, because the amount of sales that they get, what they consider to be low sales, will literally be a dream come true for any indie, AA, and heck, even some other AAA developers out there, right? Anyway, again, that was just something I wanted to highlight real quick. Since it's something that we talked about on a previous episode of this show, I just figured I'd provide you guys with that update. And for our next story, I don't want to linger on this one for too long because it only spells trouble. Tencent is partnering with Techland. This coming from Techland, quote, today I'm happy to announce the partnership with Tencent, who are in the process of becoming Techland's majority shareholder. They also go on to explain that they're going to be maintaining full creative control. They're going to have, you know, like, they're going to completely own their IPs. Like, nothing is actually going to change at Techland. Even the studio CEO is going to be the same. So, yeah, I guess this will just be like a boost to their budget, if anything, but I figured I'd highlight it here because you never know. This could lead to spelling some trouble in the future, but we'll keep an eye on this one. Next up, this is a bit of a shorter one, but it's something I still wanted to highlight just in case there's anybody out there that could use this information. Insomniac is working on a new multiplayer game. Yeah, they just don't rest over there, apparently. This coming from the Insomniac Games Twitter account, quote, Insomniac is hiring. We have 5 new job openings for a multiplayer project. Come join us and be part of the PlayStation Studios family as we work on exciting things. Apply today at http://insomniac.games/careers. So, if you're in that line of work, if you have some experience, if you'd like to go apply, definitely do, because that could be actually something really cool to be involved with. Obviously, you know, we don't promote job listings on this show. I just figured I'd mention this story because, hey, guys, Insomniac is working on a multiplayer game. This could either be one of the best things they've ever done or the absolute worst, but we'll find out soon enough, right? And also, for anybody curious, no, we don't know anything else about the game just yet. Next up, we got the August PS Plus Essential Games for you guys. So those are going to be PGA Tour 2K23, Dreams, which is an absolutely amazing game. It's not even just a game, it's like a platform, really. It's so amazing. Definitely get that one. And Death's Door, which is another amazing game, super underrated, so yeah, solid lineup. And for our next story, well, this is less of a story and more of a warning, actually. So this is coming from Video Games Chronicle, quote, according to a user on Twitter, they received an email from Ubisoft warning that should they not click a link in said email, which would stop the account suspension, the account, including all purchased games, would be inaccessible after a certain period. In response, the Ubisoft support Twitter wrote, quote, we just wanted to chime in that you can avoid the account closure by logging into your account within 30 days since receiving the email pictured and selecting the cancel account closure link contained in the email. When previously questioned on this issue, Ubisoft claimed that due to GDPR regulations, the company is required to close inactive accounts to comply with local data protection legislation. This is only if we have strong reasons to believe that the account in question will remain unused, reads a message on the Ubisoft website. Ubisoft also claims that it won't delete accounts with purchases attached to it for 4 years, although the above email sent to the user appears to contradict that, and quote, I mean, this is the all-digital future for you guys, right? All you guys advocating for the all-digital future? Here you go. here it is. You guys want it? Are you sure you still want it? You guys keep advocating for it. You guys keep pushing in that direction. So here you go. Do you not want to own your games? Do you just want to own a license to your games and not actually own the games themselves? Do you want to have all that money that you spent, those thousands of dollars on those Ubisoft games, on the microtransactions? You want those just disappear just like that? Snap of the fingers? Well, there you go. There's the all-digital future for you guys. Me personally, and, you know, all the other smart people out there, like the collectors and such, we're gonna keep buying physically, because, well, I don't know about y'all, but I actually like owning my games. And for our last story of the day, while we're talking about Ubisoft and all their little shenanigans over there, Immortals Fenyx Rising, or the sequel to it, was canceled. This sequel was never actually announced by the sequel was never officially announced, and the cancellation of it was also never officially announced. It had been in early production, but then it was shut down behind the scenes, and then, you know how it goes, like, leaks and rumors get out there where people are like, hey, there's an Immortals Fenyx Rising sequel in the works. Hey, that sequel just got canceled. So we have a bit of an explanation on that because, again, it was one of those things where it just got out there because of leaks and rumors, but then it spread like wildfire, and then everybody was like, you know, demanding answers from Ubisoft, rightfully so, because the first of Immortals Fenyx Rising was an absolutely amazing game. But anyway, Ubisoft responded, this coming from Video Games Chronicle, quote, with, Ubisoft has responded to this story and said it's reallocating some creative teams and resources within the Quebec studio. As part of our global strategy, we are redirecting and reallocating some creative teams and resources within the Quebec studio to other unannounced projects. The expertise and technologies these teams developed will serve as an accelerator for the development of these key projects focused on our biggest brands. We have nothing further to share at this time, and quote, the most corporate response you can imagine. Yeah, so I mean, why would they shut this down? I mean, I don't know. The first game was amazing, so I don't know. This is one of those things where it just boggles my mind. Like, Ubisoft, what are you doing? What are you reallocating those sort of resources to? Skull and Bones? The Skull and Bones sequel? Skull and Bones DLC? I don't know. Obviously, I'm just picking, but I don't know. Ubisoft has a bad habit, especially in recent years, of starting up a bunch of games, canceling them behind the scenes, and that really just being that. Just, you know, all that hard work just going to waste. So it's just another one of those prime examples of Ubisoft. What are you doing? But anyway, that's all the stories I got for you guys this week. That was a jam-packed show. I tried to get through everything as fast as possible, and even then, I had to cut out a couple of stories that I was going to talk about initially, just because I didn't consider them to be as important as the other ones, but that being said, I did my best for you guys. Anyways, I'd love to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think about everything that we talked about today? Are you excited for any of the new game announcements, releases, or how do you feel about Immortals Fenyx Rising, the sequel being canceled? Do you have any thoughts on the whole Dolphin and Steam situation? Just whatever it is, whatever you're thinking, I definitely love to hear from you guys. But anyway, this is Weekly GCap. New episodes go live every single Friday at 9 a.m. Eastern, so if you want to catch them as soon as they go live, well then, now you know when to be here. But anyway, that's going to do it for me, guys. Thank you guys for watching. Have an amazing day and an amazing weekend. Stay beautiful. I love you all. Peace.